Today we're going to be deciding if a semi-automatic handgun versus a revolver is easier for new shooters and for the average person who doesn't train with their firearm. Today we have 3 people who have never really fired a firearm, so we're going to try to figure out if the revolver's simplicity makes it easier for them to be able to understand how to load it and fire it versus a semi-auto. First, I'll give them all a test with no instruction to see if they can get the firearm ready to be fired. We have dummy rounds and blank rounds to load for their first set, just in case they do figure it out. We don't want nothing to happen. We'll start with the revolver first, I guess, and then we'll move on to the semi-auto, and we'll see if they can get each one ready to be fired without any instruction. And by ready to be fired, I mean that when they pull the trigger, it's gonna fire. So, you never loaded a gun, never shot a gun. Have you ever held a gun? Okay, so all your gun knowledge is like off of movies and whatever else, right? All right, so we're gonna start with the revolver first because I think it's gonna be the easiest. But what I want you to do is try and load this revolver. Here's the ammo. This is blank round. Okay, just pick it up. Go ahead. Okay. Boom, that will be loaded. And if you pull the trigger, which don't pull the trigger, but if you pull the trigger, it will fire one of those blanks. Okay, perfect. So just put it back down, load it like that. All right, this is 5 dummy rounds. So these won't shoot even if you pull the trigger. Try to fully load this one. Again, ready to be fired. Okay.
I think it's backwards.
It is. All right, so you loaded it backwards. All right, let's see. Let me help you. All right, now that you know that was backwards.
My bad.
Huh?
My bad.
No, that's perfect. Like, this is what I want to see for the video. Because I want it to be for people that's like you, who never shot and be thinking like, oh, I want a gun. To see if you would get confused with something like this over this. And boom, now that one is ready to be fired. All right, and you never fired a gun?
No.
You never picked up a gun?
Yeah.
You ever loaded a gun?
No.
Why the fuck you lying? Why?
Okay, that is ready to be fired.
Why you always lying?
Yep, that's it. How do you know? Do you from watching movies or from what?
I have a game on my phone that can show me.
I'm fucking lying.
What?
I don't know what I'm looking at.
Okay. Again, you have never fired a gun, never really held a gun, never loaded a gun. Nothing. Okay.
One eternity later.
Okay, and that's it. Now, if you were to pull a trigger, it would shoot a blank. So perfect. You can quit.
Like, it makes sense, but I don't know how to put it in.
Alright, so you quit. Perfect. So you were able to do the revolver, you weren't able to do semi-automatic. Alright, I went through with all 3 girls and I went over how to dry fire each gun. So we're gonna see with target, actually hitting the targets, which one is easier for them, if it's easier with the double action trigger versus the semi-automatic trigger. Oh, and I also had them all shoot a Ruger 1022, just so they can get the feel of firing something prior to stepping it up to 38 special and a 9mm. Okay, so again, we already went over how to load this one, which you did pretty good last time. But this is live ammo now. So you want to make sure the barrel is always pointing in a safe direction, even though you always want to. We're going to shoot 4 rounds of 9mm and 4 rounds of 38 special, okay? So I want you to load this with the 4 rounds of 9mm. Yep, pull the slide back. Okay, now it is loaded. And, wait, nope, this thumb, you see, this thumb goes on the other side, because what this is going to do is slide back and it's going to hit your thumb. There you go, you hit it.
Oh my gosh.
You hit it. That's good. There you go, you hit it twice. Okay, 1 miss, 2 misses. Okay, so what I want you to do is shoot the first 2 single action. Pull the hammer back. That's cool. You want to shoot more out of them? There you go. You hit. That's a miss. That's a miss. That's a hit. You hit 2 out of 4 again. All right, you shooting low. Okay, that's a miss. And you pulling down. You see where you're shooting? So you definitely more accurate with the semi-automatic handgun. So again, I want you to just load this gun before actual round. Okay, now remember you gotta rack the slide still because it's not loaded. Again, I want you to pull the take up in the trigger, make sure your aim is good, and then pull through that wall. That's a hit. Dang, that's it. You empty. You hit 4. I mean 3 out of 4. So now I want you to load this one. And then yep, 2 without pulling the hammer back. Go ahead, take your time. Almost. Did you skip it? Hold on, let me see. You like letting go at the last second. You're not pulling all the way through. Oh, that's something as a new person could do. Pull it. Oh. You gotta pull it harder, all the way through. What you're doing is letting go right before the end. You're going like this, and then you're letting go. Just do that. Just pull one time all the way through. It's not gonna shoot, just pull it. Okay, that's what you need to do. Okay, now the next one is gonna fire. Pull it all the way through. There you go, that's a miss though. All the way through again. That's a miss. Trigger is hard for you. You wanna shoot him again? There you go. Dang! All right, watch your barrel. You see how you just went across me? And you know you're aiming at them? Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh my god.
What is that laugh? What is that laugh? There you go. There you go. Okay, 2 and 2, that's it. You can pull it, it ain't gonna shoot. Okay. All right, watch your barrel. Aim it down. There you go. Come put it on the table. So which one you wanna shoot first?
The harder one.
Okay.
Well, I heard it with the hardest one. Oh, I'm not aiming my god. Because I keep looking at the green and not the middle thing.
Oh, okay. Okay. That time you aimed though, right?
Yeah.
How many didn't you aim?
2.
2? Okay, so after you do the revolve. That's cool. Pull it back and let it go. The rest of the way through.
It was just 4, right?
Yeah, it was just 4. And then lock back. All right, watch your barrel. What you want to do is like aim it down, walk it over to the table, you know. Okay, again. There you go. There you go. Okay, so you hit 2 out of 4. You still did better with the Glock. You want to try shooting the Glock again? Mm-hmm. Okay. Dang it. That's 4 misses on that time. Let's see, let's try 4 out the revolver again. Okay, so after all that shooting, which one is easier, handgun or revolver for beginners? It's really hard to say. Start with the operation of each. Everyone was able to easily load the revolver. Now, when it comes to possible malfunctions between the two, the semi-auto actually has way more possible malfunctions. Even though we did see one, which I never saw before, in the revolver, which Nicole, when she was pulling the trigger and not like pulling it all the way and it kept skipping a cylinder. Actually, the only one malfunction we really had was with the revolver. Another thing with the operation is the slide on the Glock that we use in the video is pretty easy to rack or to slide back. So none of them had a trouble doing it, but there's a lot of firearms out there, a lot of semi-auto firearms out there that are really hard for women to rack. So that is a big concern whenever you're getting your first gun and you're not sure. And I'm not sure how to even train for that except just building up that strength. But that is a big one. And keep in mind, some elderly are going to be using firearms for defense. I know there's a lot of elderly that definitely cannot pull some of those slides back all the way. And they also have to remember each step, just like we saw in the beginning where Nelly, she loaded them backwards because she didn't know. I imagine an elderly person may do the same thing, thinking they're about to defend their life, and they jam around in the barrel backwards. So that's something that you might want to think about. Okay, now moving on to accuracy. The semi-auto wins in accuracy, clearly. All the girls had an easier time with the single stage trigger that's in the semi-auto versus the double action trigger that we find in revolvers. And it was much easier for them to get accustomed to that right out of the box. Again, that can all be done, knocked down with training, but we're gonna just go off of, for a beginner, which one is easier. We will say accuracy, semi-auto wins. And oh yeah, even though one thing about that revolver, that was the first time I took it out, I never hit some paper with it. It has adjustable sights, so I'm not sure how accurate it is, but I did shoot it right before we started filming, and I was able to hit the target pretty easy, but I couldn't tell if I was hitting center or if I was off a little bit. So those results could be skewed a little bit. Let's just move on to the majority of gun owners who actually don't train. And I know people don't like to hear this, but majority of gun owners don't train. I have a ton of friends with guns, and the last time they went out and shot them was years ago, and they still struggle with the same beginner things whenever we are shooting. Like, I have friends that had gun for 10 years and their gun jams, and they still come up to me and be like, bro, how do I clear this? Like, what's going on? So I don't care what anybody says, there's a lot of gun owners who don't train. So we're gonna say, when it comes to the realistic use of firearms, which is the average, we're gonna say for people who have their guns stored away for years at a time and pull it out in that one random night when something happens, man, I honestly would not want someone to have a semi-auto handgun, and it'd be, if it's not loaded at least, and most people don't feel comfortable fully loading a gun in their house like that. But yeah, I think for those people who just haven't shot their gun in years, I think the simplicity of the revolver wins out, because if you're not shooting often, you're really not going to be that accurate anyway. And even talking about accuracy under high stress, most of us are gonna miss. Like, and I wouldn't say that's a horrible thing, because I honestly think like 95% of the time you don't need to be accurate. You don't need to hit your target. Most of the times, as long as you fire a shot, people aren't gonna stick around to catch a second bullet. You know, most people are in there for something, and they're not in there to get shot at or in a gunfight. As soon as the gunfight starts, people are out of there. So accuracy isn't the biggest issue in my mind for people who aren't going to train all the time, which is most gun owners. So the average gun owner, I would still want to push a revolver towards them, just because I feel like they're going to keep it locked up somewhere for years, and then when they pull it out, they're going to be getting confused. Even if they knew how to load it at one point, they're going to start getting confused. So yeah, it's really hard to make a call on which one is the best. They both had their pros and cons. They were both fun. Most of the girls like the semi-auto, but of course you don't always need what you like. And I think especially in today's time, most people don't like the look of revolvers. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna do more testing on this in the future to see if it's any other variables that we don't know.